Good morning, 5 o'clock. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. And our top story this morning, one of them, 24 westbound in Jolton area this morning is closed off. There's a serious crash there involving multiple vehicles. So it's closed 24 westbound New Hope Road. That's exit 31 through Springfield. And that's exit 49. Once again, 24 westbound shut down in Jolton this morning. We'll keep our eye on that one. In the news, Mayor Freddie O'Connell is proposing a 26% property tax increase to pay for services that he says will otherwise go away. And he took a veiled swipe at the Trump administration and protesters who held signs and chanted outside his State of the Metro address yesterday.
These are the same people celebrating the chaos of federal cuts, which, make no mistake, are not about efficiency. What they won't tell you is what they're proposing means we wouldn't fund our school services and safety. We wouldn't open a new police precinct in Southeast Nashville, wouldn't have the new police flex unit shrink the amount of time you have to wait when there's an emergency.
Protesters say, however, there is no need to raise taxes. They're imploring him to find the money elsewhere. And they vow to keep up the pressure on Metro Council, which has to pass a budget by July 1st. The Metro Public Health Department is investigating a restaurant following reports of food poisoning.
The Tennessean says people claim they got sick not very long after eating at the Sushi Train restaurant on White Bridge Road. They complained about rapid onset of food poisoning symptoms on the online platform iwaspoisoned.com. Well, officials with the health department claim they found 18 violations during recent inspections at the restaurant. As for the diners and their symptoms, the Public Health Microbiology Foundation claims to have identified Staphylococcus aureus food poisoning at Sushi Train, which can make someone sick within 30 minutes to 8 hours of eating. Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Hey, a controversial movie is hitting movie theaters today.
Western Rust opens today, but there was no red carpet premiere for the movie starring Alec Baldwin.
Arlen Rust. Heaven ain't waiting on neither one of us.
In 2021, cinematographer Helena Hutchins was killed on the set by a bullet fired by Baldwin. Her family wanted the movie completed, according to the writer and director, who also says, quote, "I wish I never wrote the damn movie."
Andrew Dimbert reporting. Market numbers now brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com.
Tech stocks drove the markets higher today. Microsoft and Meta presented profits for the first quarter of the year that were bigger than what analysts expected. The Dow rose 83 points, the S&P was up 35, and the Nasdaq gained 264 points. McDonald's says same-store sales slumped 1% globally and 3.6% in the U.S. The burger chain says it will expand its U.S. value menu and extend the $5 meal deal. That's been around since last summer to boost sales. Michelle Franzen, ABC News.
So what's moving the markets today? Well, China signaling an openness to trade talks with the U.S. And stock futures are all pointing up this morning. Dow futures up 200, NASDAQ futures up 46, S&P futures are gaining 24. That's the latest news. We've got traffic and weather ahead. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. Going to be a problem this morning in Joelton. This is the 24 westbound side between New Hope Road and Springfield. The highway is shut down, multi-vehicle crash there, and the exit at 31 is being used as the detour. So be advised of that this morning. Otherwise, the roadways are looking fairly good. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.507 Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning to you, friends. How are you? It is Friday. It is May 2nd of 2025. Did you hear Murphy Show yesterday just put the screws to Nashville Mayor O'Connell? Oh, my Lord. So that is where I'm going to start. And I believe that Murphy Show caught Mayor O'Connell in a lie, and I'm going to prove it. Joan, it was a long slog with my show prep this morning. I'm just going to tell you, because I listened to the mayor's State of the Metro speech yesterday.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then I did listen to Matt's interview with Mayor O'Connell, which I will tell you was far more entertaining than the actual speech. But I'm going to get into a couple of different things. Basically, the bottom line is that the mayor, I need some audio, KGB. The mayor is going to ask for a tax raise of 26.64%. And from what I understand, it'll depend on each individual property. But part of what the mayor did was he did blame the federal government, and it seems to me like he is blaming Donald Trump. This is what he said during his State of the Metro speech. Mayor O'Connell.
But we've lost a reliable partner in the federal government, and that's impacting our community's work on many levels.
Now realize, later on, I'm going to play audio where O'Connell says, I wasn't blaming Trump for the property tax increase. He absolutely did.
Estimates reveal nearly 400 Nashville nonprofits are at risk of losing funding to the tune of $1.5 billion. Vanderbilt University Medical Center has already revealed that they're cutting their budget by as much as $250 million. And Metro has been ghosted on awarded funds of tens of millions of dollars. But we're not standing idly by as the federal government unlawfully tries to cut funding that's legally ours. We've told them we'll see you in court.
All right, so there you go. Now, remember that the nonprofits, the funding was cut, federal grants, it was cut because their mission wasn't ideologically consistent with the Trump administration. The funding for Vanderbilt, same thing. Remember that Trump said that they would be cutting administrative costs and that actual research that places like Vanderbilt does wasn't supposed to be impacted. We've gone through all of this in excruciating detail. But the other part of that comment is, as the mayor says, and this is where there might be a disconnect, money that has been approved by Congress, and this would be in the congressional session of 2022 to 2024, the 118th Congress, that money was approved by Congress, but was not actually given to the city of Nashville. And also, of course, cuts moving forward. That is where the disconnect is. That is where Freddie O'Connell and the city of Nashville is suing the Trump administration, is that, look, this money was approved by Congress. It was approved by then President Joe Biden and, again, Congress. And remember, the House of Representatives, that is the chamber of Congress, that is they are the ones, they were controlled by the Republicans, and they are the ones that control the purse strings, right? So it was congressionally approved money. Now, our Daily Dan poll, not to slow things down, but the Daily Dan poll is, how did we word it, KGB? Should money that was allocated by Congress, that was approved by Congress, the Republican-led House of Representatives, Should Nashville get that money because it was already approved by Congress, Republicans in Congress? The Democrats had the Senate, and of course, the Democrats had the White House. But anyway, what are people saying so far? If you want to vote, I have a feeling this is going to be a good poll question.
So I couldn't do that entire sentence because there's unfortunately a character limit on YouTube. But
Right.
I said basically should money already approved by Congress and Biden but canceled by Trump still be given to Nashville?
Yes.
And 90% say no.
90% say no. Okay.
Well, mainly because Nashville will probably mess it up anyways.
Yeah, but it was approved by the Republicans. So anyway, that's good to know, though, that folks are saying, you know what, even if it was approved by Congress and the president at the time, no, that money should not go to Nashville because here we are in 2025 and the American people, and clearly Tennessee spoke. And we spoke for Donald Trump as our president of the United States. We also obviously wanted Republicans to represent us in the House of Representatives and also in the Senate. Very red state. But there was a lot made of this statement by the mayor on the protesters. Listen to this. This is Mayor Freddie O'Connell.
Many of you undoubtedly walked past folks this morning who believe that property tax going up for any Nashvillian by any amount is unnecessary, just more government spending. These are the same people celebrating the chaos of federal cuts, which, make no mistake, are not about efficiency. What they won't tell you is what they're proposing means we wouldn't fund our school services and safety. We wouldn't open a new police precinct in Southeast Nashville, wouldn't have the new police flex unit shrink the amount of time you have to wait when there's an emergency, wouldn't expand safety in schools.
So it is really easy to say, well, without raising property taxes, then kids will not learn and cops will be fired and not hired and schools will be unsafe. So basically what the mayor is saying is that the federal government is to blame for the rising costs under Donald Trump. At least that's what it seems to me. That's what he said. And so now, and think about, because he was throwing those protesters right under the bus. And he kind of seems a little dismissive about the concerns. Nashville Tea Party, Nashville GOP, Americans for Prosperity, 3 organizations that organized the protest outside of, right before the mayor's speech and in front of the Nashville Public Library yesterday. So those 3 organizations, I will say this. Seems to me that Mayor O'Connell is throwing down the gauntlet and really accusing those organizations of lying. Because what he said was, what they're not telling you is that schools will be unsafe, cops will be fired and not hired, kids will not learn, etc. Okay. Well, now it seems to me like the onus is on those organizations to prove Mayor O'Connell wrong. He also said, by the way, that inflation and costs have gone up. Well, I will remind the mayor, as he is blaming Donald Trump, I will remind the mayor that last year, in the last couple of years anyway, under Joe Biden, we had what's the highest it went? 9.3, 9.7% inflation. He does say the cost of services has gone up, and that is his justification for raising the property taxes. Nashville is indeed suing the federal government for withholding those funds. And again, this is important. The money was approved by Congress and also, the president at the time, Joe Biden.
This is money that hardworking Nashville taxpayers have already sent to Washington. It's money that hardworking Metro workforce team members have submitted applications for, and what the White House is unlawfully telling us it's not coming back. But Congress said it should, and we're going to fight for it.
So that's going to be one of those, it's up for debate. We'll have to see what the courts say about that. But then they got into budgets, and this is where things got a little spicy. And I'm going to play that audio coming up next. It is 5:15. Time to check the roads on WTN.
It is closed this morning, 24 the westbound lanes. This is in Joelton. It's between New Hope Road and Springfield. Got to get off at exit 31. That's where the detour is. It's a multi-vehicle crash. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Joan. Today, a high of 82, some showers. Joan, are we expecting thunderstorms today?
Yes, later on.
Okay, like in this afternoon?
This afternoon into tonight and actually through tomorrow morning as well.
All right, so thunderstorms expected as well. On Saturday, a high of 69, mostly sunny, high of 64 on Sunday, and high of 64 on Sunday and sunny. That's what I said. All right, it is 5:16. Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Going through some of the relevant audio, Matt Murphy and the interview with the mayor after his State of the Metro speech. Matt asked the mayor if he wants and appreciates the need for a balanced budget. The mayor said, yes, I do. He does want a balanced budget. Nashville does need a balanced budget. And I could see where Matt was going. He was trying to trap the mayor.
Why don't you understand the concept federally of doing the same thing? Because you don't seem to understand that.
No, of course I do.
Hold on a second. We're 37.
By the way, did you notice the mayor's voice kind of went up a little bit when he said, no, I get it.
Same thing, because you don't seem to understand that.
No, of course I do.
Hold on a second. We're $37 trillion in debt, and you poo-pooed that today during your speech like it was nothing. The United States of America is $37 trillion in debt, Freddie.
Matt, if you really want to get into a discussion of federal spending, we can do that.
No, you brought it up during your speech. You said
I did, because we rely on those. We rely on those programs locally.
You said, make no mistake, it's not about efficiency. Then what is it about?
It is not. It is not about efficiency.
Then what is it about?
I think it is about just the level of cuts, and I think that's where my greatest.
No. If the cuts
on
the federal level,
it's not about efficiency.
We overspent. How much did we overspend as a federal government last year? Do you know?
I don't know off the top of my head, but I know that these cuts aren't tackling the report about $400 billion in contractual.
Then why would you insult the people who were protesting a tax increase by suggesting that it wasn't about efficiency if you don't even know how much we overspent last year, Freddie?
Well, I looked it up. How much did the federal government overspend last year? Well, according to Grok, in fiscal year 2024, the U.S. federal government overspent by running a budget deficit of approximately $1.8 trillion. And Matt is right when he says we are $37 trillion in the hole. This deficit represents the difference between the federal spending, which totaled around $6.8 trillion, and federal revenue, which was about $4.9 trillion. And so what O'Connell doesn't understand, and of course he's a Democrat, but what they don't understand is, number one, it is about efficiency, and number two, it is about how our country is going to be able to sustain itself as we rack up more and more trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars in debt. And that's what DOGE is all about. So, yeah, Biden and Congress way overspent, as they always do. And remember what Donald Trump has said, and I mentioned this earlier, that grants and funding will be cut if it is related to DEI-type programs or inefficiency. Now, are these cuts inconsistent with the election results of 2024? That's always going to be the question regarding this conversation. Also, spending under the Inflation Reduction Act, a general spending freeze as well, was what President Trump did. And so Freddie O'Connell, talking about the cuts here in Nashville, continued to blame, my estimation, President Trump.
Should the federal government balance its budget?
I do think the federal government should balance its budget.
How does it do that?
Ideally, what they would do is what we do here. They would make sure that every dollar in came in and had, that the balance sheet added up.
But you said you walked past people this morning who believe property tax going up for any Nashvilleian by any amount is unnecessary, and these people are celebrating the chaos of federal cuts. And I'm trying to understand what.
And so, this is where I would say the this is where you talk about, if you want to talk about efficiency, it is not just to say we are going to blindly cut some amount in some department, I think if you were really focused on efficiency, you would be measuring those dollars as a part of trying to move toward a balanced budget, not just making indiscriminate cuts.
So the mayor also said during his speech, again, that he is suing the federal government to get that money. So one of the big disagreements during this conversation, and I would encourage you to go listen to the podcast, go watch the video on YouTube of this interview. The mayor said during his speech he is suing the federal government. One of the big disagreements was, did the mayor blame Trump for the property tax hike?
I am not blaming our property taxes on Donald Trump.
You most certainly did. I was in the speech, Freddie. You said
You heard something different than what I said, Matt.
You said based on the instability of federal money and our inability to continue to depend on federal money coming into the city and increase costs, you have to make adjustments based on that. I was sitting there when you said it.
Well, let's go to the tape.
But we've lost a reliable partner in the federal government, and that's impacting our community's work on many levels. Many of you undoubtedly walked past folks this morning who believe that property tax going up for any Nashvilleian by any amount is unnecessary, just more government spending. These are the same people celebrating the chaos of federal cuts, which, make no mistake, are not about efficiency.
All right. And when he says, make no mistake, it's not about efficiency, clearly he is referring to Doge. So, yes, I do believe that, and if you want to hit me up on the super text line, I'm going to open it up real quick. But I believe that the mayor did lie, and I think that he did lie to Matt Murphy when he said that he wasn't blaming Donald Trump. I think his actual quote was, I certainly was not blaming Donald Trump for our property tax increase. Well, that's what he said. That's how I heard it. KGB, your mic is on. What do you say?
I say I don't think he's ever coming back on WTN and any of our hosts.
No. I'm gonna get to that. That's part of my story.
Ooh, tease.
Joan, what did you think? Did you think the mayor lied?
Oh, clearly he lied.
I mean,
yes.
To me, it is clear that he said one thing.
Yep.
On the Murphy show, and he said another thing in his speech.
Oh, without
To
a
be
doubt.
fair, he is a politician.
So I'm going to do it one more time, then I got to go.
I am not blaming our property taxes on Donald Trump.
You most certainly did. I was in the speech, Freddie. You said
you heard something different than what I said, Matt.
So you heard something different than what I said, Matt. Well, again, let's go to the tape.
But we've lost a reliable partner in the federal government, and that's impacting our community's work on many levels. Many of you undoubtedly walked past folks this morning who believe that property tax going up for any Nashvilleian by any amount is unnecessary, just more government spending. These are the same people celebrating the chaos of federal cuts, which, make no mistake, are not about efficiency.
So, it is obvious what he's trying to do, but whatever. By the way, we will come back to the mayor coming back on WTN with Matt Murphy. I'm going to get to that coming up before the news, which is at 5:30, and Joan Jones has that. Hey, Joan.
Hey there. So President Trump has done what many conservatives have been waiting for a long time. An executive order that he signed late last night. Also, we'll take a look at our weekend weather with Stefano. Could be a little wet around here. Those stories and more coming up at 5:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Did you know you're overpaying for your health and wellness products?
With over 20 company-owned brands offering its members vitamins, supplements, wellness, and skincare products, you're able to save up to 70% off retail.
Members Nutrition can't change your life, but we can change the way you live.
.528. Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Did he really sign that last night, Joan?
Yeah. Yeah.
So as I was losing brain cells trying to figure out what the hell the mayor was talking about, apparently Trump has defunded NPR.
And PBS.
No kidding. What is CPB?
The Corporation for Public Broadcasting.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Joan and I are texting back and forth. So he defunded NPR. Well,
Yeah.
good. Then you know what? Maybe NPR can start running ED commercials.
Wouldn't that be sweet?
The things I could only say in the 5 o'clock hour. Anyway, I got to give Mayor O'Connell some props. Because KGB said in the previous segment, Mayor O'Connell will probably never come on the air again. The best interviews are when two people, smart people. I know Matt Murphy is smart. I don't know how smart the mayor is. He's got to be smart, whatever. But he said that he will absolutely come back on. Matt was like, I know things, got a little confrontational, got a little testy. And the mayor immediately said, I will come back on anytime to talk about the issues because I believe it is important, is what the mayor said.
That is smart of him.
Not only is that smart of the mayor, you're absolutely right. It's also awfully gracious. I could not get when Nashville, when Mayor Cooper was running way back when, I had as many of the mayoral candidates on that I could, but after he was elected, dude would never come on WTN again. Now, part of it may have been because Brian was calling him Mayor Midget, and I made fun of his bushy eyebrows. It may have had something to do with that.
I think the midget thing is a little harsher than the eyebrow thing.
But both were true. We're conservatives. We don't lie. Anyway, 5:30 on WTN.
Good morning. It's 5:30. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. Once again, 24 of the westbound lanes all shut down this morning. There's a crash involving several vehicles. Now, you've got to exit at exit 31. That's the detour this morning. The closure is between that exit 31 and exit 24. In the news, Mayor Freddie O'Connell proposing a 26% property tax increase to pay for the services he says will go away otherwise.
We stayed focused on a budget that delivers on the basics, continues what works, pays our public servants fairly, and delivers on the biggest needs and concerns of Nashvillians, including housing affordability.
Channel 4's Dryden Quigley was outside where the protesters said there is no reason to raise taxes. They want them to find the money elsewhere.
All morning, people were outside of the Nashville Public Library chanting. A few told us that they moved to Nashville because of the low taxes and did not want to see them go up. Mayor Freddie O'Connell acknowledged that although it is the lowest rate in decades, some will still be paying more because their home values have gone up by more than the average of 45%.
Protesters saying that they'll keep up the pressure on Metro Council. The severe weather threat is a 3 out of 5 today. Stefano DiPietro says, we're okay this morning, but it's later today. That's a different story.
High wind gusts will by far be the main threat with any thunderstorm. Heavier rainfall could cause ponding and poor visibility. The strongest storms could have hail in them. The tornado threat remains very low at this time.
And those storms may linger into tomorrow morning as well. Happening overnight, President Trump has signed that executive order that terminates the federal funding for National Public Radio and for the Public Broadcasting Service. Now, here's what the order says. Government funding of news media in this environment is not only outdated and unnecessary, but corrosive to the appearance of journalistic independence. Stock futures this morning looking pretty good. China has signaled an openness to trade talks with the U.S. So we've got the Dow futures up 200 points this morning. NASDAQ futures are plus 64. S&P futures up 26. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. Still closed on 24 this morning in Joelton. You've got to get off the highway at exit 31. That's the start of the detour there, but it's closed off through exit 24. A multi-vehicle crash. They're saying like 4 or 5 vehicles involved, and it is slow moving up to that point this morning. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
How short was former Mayor John Cooper?
I did not find a height on Google, but
I grokked it.
Oh, that's smart.
Joan, I grokked it. How short was former Nashville Mayor John Cooper?
I bet it knows.
There is some sort of who's trying to hide this information?
Well,
because
I saw
even Grok doesn't have anything on how short the mayor was. I know that former mayor. Here's what I know is that he made me look tall.
So I saw a picture of him on like debate stage. He's a tiny little guy. It's adorable.
By the way,
Can I keep him?
I do stand corrected. Brian used to call him Mayor Munchkin.
Oh,
It's a little more harsh than midget, I feel like.
All I did was talk about his eyebrows. I didn't understand his eyebrows because he was married. I said this on there. He was married, and usually wives will take a lawnmower to the eyebrows.
Yeah.
They'll let you know, hey.
What was that Russian prime minister that had the maybe it was Russian. It had to be like who had the crazy eyebrows.
Don't know.
Maybe someone that's chat line knows who I'm talking
Mayor
about.
Munchkin.
There was a Russian leader or maybe someone else in another country, but I just remember it was in the 90s, maybe the 80s.
Right.
He had the eyebrows of a road. Like they were black and they just you put some lines on them. That's a road on I-65.
Well, they wouldn't, and again, after that, he wouldn't come on.
John Bolton had funky eyebrows, too.
John Bolton looked like a seal.
Careful.
No, John Bolton looked like a seal. Did he not?
I didn't know where you were going. That's why I was a little scared.
No, John Bolton looked like he looked like a seal.
Jesus.
It's your problem?
I don't know how much we can get away with.
Listen, how many of you had it on your bingo card, Mandis impersonating a seal this morning? I'm just saying.
Probably not many.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Was
it? Let me look
Boris Yovanko? Einstein had bushy eyebrows. Yeah, see, I shouldn't bag on eyebrows. I mean, listen, there have been times when Amy's like, oh, my God, have you looked at yourself? It's like you're going to start howling at the moon if you don't take off, do something with those eyebrows. So, I think that's what wives are for, among other things.
Boris Yeltsin, yeah.
Clipping toenails as well. I mean, that's what we do with wives. Let's see. 4859. Of course, KGB would bring up Russian with weird eyebrows.
Right.
Boris Yeltsin. Whatever.
Yeah, probably him.
All right, so let's move on. Let's talk about Neil Young's new song. Now, I heard the Red Eye guys talking about this. Apparently, Neil Young has written a new song dedicated to Doge, I guess, Tesla, and Elon Musk. And so KGB has looked up the lyrics. I haven't heard these lyrics, and I don't know if you have either. Apparently, this was a live performance, and the audio is terrible. It's probably not even worth airing on the radio. But people have tried to figure out what in the world was Neil Young singing. Now, realize that Neil Young is a leftist that, as the day is long. So he is bashing Elon Musk, who has developed the most incredible electric vehicle known to man. So really, I think the Democrats, they have lost any credibility on climate change or global warming or anything like that. Like, I don't see how they can, on the one hand, still claim that they're trying to save the earth from a fiery end and still try to destroy Elon Musk. Now, all that to say, let's hear, I have not heard these.
Yeah, so
Joan has not either. So let's listen to these
lyrics. All right.
These lyrics.
It starts with "Come on Ford, come on GM, come on Chrysler, let's roll again. Build something special that people need. Build us a safe way for us to meet. Build us something that won't kill our kids. Runs real clean." And then he goes on and it continues with "China's way ahead. They're making clean cars." Which
are they? I don't think they are.
I don't well, however they're doing it is probably wrong.
If you'd like to talk about, if you'd like to go down that road of carbon footprint and all that, China has been polluting enough for the entire rest of the world because they don't have any regulations, as far as I know, whatsoever. That's been a conversation for a long time, where you have the worldwide climate initiatives that all of these European countries and the Democrats and Joe Biden and so forth like us to, what do they call it? Whatever it was. All these climate accords and
Paris
China.
Climate Accords?
Yeah, I think it was the Paris Climate Accords. And China never, ever abides by them.
So this is a 3.5 minute song.
This tells you how ignorant Neil Young is.
Yeah, this is a 3.5 minute song, and those are like the main lyrics he keeps repeating over and over. And then he finishes with, get this, let me see if I can, let's see if I can find it again. It says, "If you're a fascist, get a Tesla. It's electric. It doesn't matter. If you're a Democrat, taste your freedom. Get whatever you want. Taste your freedom." I don't know.
I think somebody should check on him and make sure that he's okay.
Well, that is insightful,
dude. He took probably 5 minutes to write this and go, man, this is gonna get me in the news again.
Yeah,
like, I don't know how else I can describe it as like a failed attempt to try to again. He got on the news, he's trending, whatever. He probably got what he wanted, but this is the lamest lyrics I've ever heard.
You know, part of what that is, right? And I'm riffing. I'm going off of memory, but he and his wife, Hannah. Who is his wife, Joan? Who is the wife of Neil Young? Hannah something or another?
Couldn't care less Young?
No. She's a...
Oh, she's actually...
Daryl Hannah.
Daryl Hannah.
Yeah.
You're kidding.
Yeah. Why did he marry a dude? Totally kidding. Daryl Hannah is a woman. Daryl Hannah is a beautiful woman.
Oh, my gosh.
I'm kidding.
I think the question is, why did she marry him?
Yeah.
Oh, well done, Joan.
Thank you.
So do you remember...
Has she seen his eyebrows?
Talk about eyebrows, he'd be plucked.
Anyway, so here's the thing, is that he was out there talking about how Trump was going to try to deport him because he's he's from Canada.
He has a dual citizenship.
Yes, he does. But this is the stupidity of people on the left. This is the level of argument that they have on the left. It's like that. Amber Ruffin, remember that audio we played yesterday?
Yeah.
Where she was like, oh my God, people are going to be disappeared. Do you remember that stupidity?
I'm not safe in my own household.
Oh, yeah. My trans friends are all scared and they're afraid to go outside. How dumb are you?
Do you remember when Neil Young went off of Spotify because he didn't agree with Joe Rogan on COVID and no one cared? And he went back on there a month later?
Yeah, nobody cared.
He went back on a month or two later.
So I don't know.
God, that screams, pay attention to me.
Yeah, this is the level of argument that you get from people on the left, whether it is, and by the way, can you read the last lines? I'm sorry if you've, can you read the last couple of lines of that song again?
Oh, so if you're a fascist, get a Tesla. It's electric. It doesn't matter. If you're a Democrat, taste your freedom. Get whatever you want. Taste your freedom. But I don't
understand.
Lyrics,
so you spent the entire song
saying get Chrysler and GM make electric cars to buy those, and then you're saying it doesn't matter. You just contradicted your entire song.
You're contradicting your song. You dumb.
What an idiot!
Do you know what I think it is, Joan?
What is it?
I think it's all the drugs he took in the 60s.
I think it could have something to do with that.
Could it?
Yeah.
Who did he ask? Hey, can you read this over? And who said yes? We gotta do this.
I don't think
who's
he
the idiot
cares
that
if
agreed?
anybody reads it over.
Yeah.
He's projecting.
But yeah, Dan, you made a good point, though. That's a complete contradiction of the entire song. If you're a fascist, get a Tesla. It's electric. It doesn't matter. Unless you're a fascist, then get it. But then if you're a Democrat, get whatever you want.
Brian also called Mayor Cooper Chicken Coop.
Chicken Coop?
I don't know why
Not
he
to
wouldn't
his
come
face,
on.
Right?
What'd you say?
Not to his face. He said that on the air.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, good.
We couldn't say it to his face. He would never come on.
Okay, can I ask a question? What songs did Neil Young do that made him popular? I honestly do not know.
Rockin' in the Free World.
Yeah.
That was a great
So
song.
he's a one-hit wonder guy, or did he have multiple songs?
No. He was part of Crosby, Stills, Nash, and Young. Mm-hmm. They hated him. By the way, Joan, you know this. Crosby, Stills, and Nash could not stand Neil Young.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So it's kind of like Pink Floyd with Roger Waters.
Yeah,
because they kicked him out because he was a psycho.
I don't know about Pink Floyd, but what I know is that the remaining members who are still alive, and maybe they all are, I have no idea. That is not my kind of music, man. But I was reading, one of them was saying that Neil Young was such a pain in the butt, he caused a lot of friction within the band.
Yeah.
Which is not surprising, listening to, him rant about this kind of stuff and writing this silly little song that he did. Which, by the way, again, is completely the opposite of what the Democrats are supposed to stand for, which is saving the planet. And if you want to look at electric cars, there's probably no other man on the face of this earth who has done more to forward the technology and development of electric cars than Elon Musk.
Yeah.
Do you see how...
It's so crazy how Elon Musk can evoke this kind of emotion from people.
All right, so Phil
doing
says...
something good.
Yes, Joan. Phil says, look up a current picture of Neil Young.
Yeah, I know. He's a chunker now.
It looks... Well, I got to do this.
Yeah.
I look up a current picture of Neil Young, so that's what I am going to...
It's not pleasant.
He's got like a really bloated face, like he probably sits around and sips whiskey most
Oh, my
of
God.
the
He
day.
does look like Yoda.
Yoda.
He looks
There
like
you go.
Yoda.
That's an insult to Yoda.
It is. Listen, he's got the looks of Yoda, clearly without the wisdom. Oh, I thought that was funny. Whatever.
Oh, this was the laugh line. Got it. Yeah.
Whatever. Hey, by the way, so that whole joke that I told, just very quickly.
Yeah.
That whole joke that I told Stefano DiPietro yesterday.
I love this.
So I go to Contours yesterday to get my belly fat burned off, and I walk in, and there's somebody there who is a listener to the show. First thing he said to me, you know what he said to me, Joan?
I know what he said to you, Dan, because you texted me to brag about it yesterday. Go on.
He said, I loved the joke.
Why was he sucking up like that? Like, what did it earn him to suck up to you like that?
I don't care. He gave me affirmation. What I need every day is positive affirmations.
Gotcha. Yeah.
What is it that dude used to say? I'm funny enough, I'm smart enough, and doggone it, people like me. I don't know about those first two, and I'm certainly not sure about the last one, but I've been here for a long time, so apparently whatever.
Yeah.
Hey, very quickly, Donald Trump spoke at Harvard University. University of, no, not Harvard, Alabama. Thank you, Joan. He spoke at the University of Alabama. I want you, speaking of somebody trying to make a joke happen, I want you to listen to Donald Trump. He kind of had a Mandis moment.
Oh.
Yeah, he did. Listen to this. He's speaking at the University of Alabama, and he mentions Harvard.
Graduates of the Alabama class of 2025 standing here before you in this magnificent arena, it is clear to see the next chapter of the American story will not be written by the Harvard Crimson. It will be written by you, the Crimson Tide.
All right, great joke.
Oh, yes.
No, that's a great joke. Listen to what he does, that he goes on and he tries to sell it.
That's true. That's true. I thought that was rather clever. If you look at what's going on, they get their $5 billion a year.
Mm-hmm.
That is not going to be so forthcoming. Now, wasn't that a clever one, though? Huh? Who would think of that?
He's pointing to his head.
My writers. He should be acknowledging the writers.
Oh, I bet you he made that up himself.
I don't think so.
Joan Jones.
Come on, I love President Trump, but I don't think he has people do these things for him.
I think he came up with it himself.
We will never know, but
Do you know what? Maybe that should be our poll. You know what, KGB, this might be the first time that people agree with me over Joan. Joan says that Trump took credit for a joke that he didn't write. Joan Jones, are you calling President Donald Trump, the 47th president of the United States, a liar?
No, I'm calling him. I don't know what I'm calling him.
Oh, yeah. I got her. It's taken, what, a year? I finally got her.
Where's the we had champagne saved for this. Where is it?
That's all right.
Okay.
I'm just saying that.
You're saying that Donald Trump is a liar.
He just takes credit for things that he didn't do necessarily.
Dan should be immediately fired for referring to Mr. Rogers as that guy? I don't know what that is.
Yeah, neither do I.
That's got to be hearkening back to some joke I told many, many, many years ago. Okay. I don't know how this on the super text line has somehow turned against me. It was Joan who called President Trump a liar. Dan needs
4650. Yeah, Dan needs canned laughter hot button to let us know when we're supposed to laugh.
Joan's the one that called Trump a liar, not me.
I'm going to get the canned laugh hot button.
How did this somehow turn against me? I don't know. Whatever. You know what? I'm glad it's Friday. You know what, you people? I'm not coming back tomorrow, just so you know. See, that would be a place where you'd put the canned laughter.
Put the canned laughter.
Right there. That's where it would have gone.
Uh-huh.
Thank you, 4650, for the idea. Moving right along. 553. Ah, what a train wreck.
You got to signal me. I have the laugh track ready if you ever need it now.
Thank you. Thank you. Every 15 seconds, just keep pumping it in. So that's what you got in. There you go.
That's the one. It's perfect.
All right, moving right along. Joan was coming up at 6.
Yeah, there's a special horse that's running at the Kentucky Derby this weekend. Tell you all about it coming up here at 6 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
5:58, Nashville's Morning News. Governor Pritzker from Illinois, of course. It's May Day, he says, as he continues to bash Donald Trump at every turn. Do you know what I almost did, Joan?
What'd you do?
So I was on the Facebook, and I don't know how this dude's post ended up on my timeline or whatever. I don't really know how Facebook works, to be honest with you. But he proudly took a picture of Donald Trump's middle finger as he is flipping off like Trump Tower in Illinois, in Chicago.
Pritzker did this?
No. Some dude on some rando on
Brave
Facebook.
and beautiful.
Gotcha.
So some guy, again, proudly takes a picture of himself flipping off the Trump Tower in Chicago. And he was so proud of himself.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, number one, I don't know how I'm seeing this because I don't follow the dude, but whatever. I was so irritated. I typed a really, really, really good response that I was going to drop on this a-hole's.
But you decided against doing it?
No.
Okay.
Bandit jumped on me, and my phone, I lost the window. I was on my phone. So I didn't, and then I desperately tried to find it again, and I couldn't find it.
So that was probably, a little divine intervention.
I was about to say, that's a sign from God if I've ever seen one.
Don't do this, Dan.
Yeah, you know what? Amy told me later, why would you lower yourself to some rando on Facebook?
But it feels good to write it. I've done that a million times. You write it, it feels really good to type it out, and then you just don't send it. Because
do you do that?
Yeah.
Like when somebody irritates you, like maybe at work, there's like that 24-hour rule. Don't send an email when you're angry.
Or the chat line.
No, I've been known to light a few people up on the chat line, which is fine. Are AI chatbots the cure to male loneliness? AI chatbots the cure to male loneliness?
Are they?
Maybe what we need to
depressing.
do is assign KGB a chatbot and see what. Sorry, 6 o'clock on W. 6. That's where you put in the canned laughter, right there, KGB.
You're slow, KGB.
See, timing is always everything. Wowzer. All right, got a lot more straight ahead on WTN.
Six o'clock now, and I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. They're still working that crash scene in Jolton this morning, so it's closed on 24. It's in the westbound lanes, and the detour starts at exit 31. It's closed up to exit 24 and stop and go. The traffic center is saying this sounds like 5 vehicles. They've been listening to the traffic on the scanner, and they say it sounds like one person has been transported to the hospital, non-life-threatening injuries. So we'll keep on top of that this morning as that continues. In the news, police in Laverne are still searching for whoever hit and killed a man who was walking along Old Nashville Highway yesterday morning and then drove off. That elderly man later died, and this neighbor says she won't even let her kids play in the front yard anymore.
They're treating this street like a racetrack, like Speedway.
She says the man who was killed walked every day against traffic along that stretch of roadway that has no sidewalk. President Trump delivered the commencement speech to graduating students at the University of Alabama last night with a special message for business majors.
For the business majors here today, I challenge you not merely to use your talents for financial speculation, but to apply your great skills that you've learned and had to forging the steel and pouring the concrete of new American factories, plants, shipyards, and even cities which are going up all over our country.
He congratulated them for being the first graduating class in the golden age. When the horse named Render Judgment starts out of Gate 15 at the Kentucky Derby tomorrow, Toby Keith's family will be watching. He owned that horse along with his lifelong friend, Tommy Gandolfo.
That is the greatest thing that ever happened. These people spend hundreds of millions of dollars to try to get to the Derby.
And here he is. He's one of 20 people that have made it to the Derby.
Now, speaking to Fox 56 out of Lexington, Gandolfo said that he and Toby owned several horses together over the years. Render Judgment was a late entry after another horse suffered a leg injury. A lot of folks will be cheering that number 15 horse tomorrow. Market numbers brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com.
Strong results from Microsoft and Meta helped fuel Thursday's stock market gains. The Dow Jones picked up 84 points to finish the session at 43,753. The S&P added 0.6%. The tech-intensive Nasdaq 1.5%. Overnight, Shell Oil posted adjusted earnings of $5.58 billion for the first quarter, easily beating analysts' expectations. The British energy giant also announced another $3.5 billion share buyback program. Sticker shock at the online checkout. The Trump administration this morning closed a loophole that allowed Americans to buy cheap goods from China without paying a tariff. Backers say that'll help U.S. manufacturers to compete with China. Americans may be opting for staycations until the economy stabilizes. Airbnb says demand for vacation rentals is softening and that its forecast for second quarter revenue is coming in below Wall Street expectations. Jim Ryan, ABC News.
Stock futures are all on the plus side this morning. That's the latest news, traffic, and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. And it's still closed in Joelton on 24 westbound. You got to exit at 31. That's where the detour starts. And that crash there is involving 5 cars. They're still working on the cleanup now. In Laverne, 24 westbound past Old Hickory Boulevard, exit 62. The HOV lane is blocked off by a crash. And you've got a crash as well involving injuries in Pegram at McCrory Lane south of I-40. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
6:07, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Dan Mandis here. Thank you for listening for a Friday. You can always follow me on X at Dan Mandis Show. You can watch the radio broadcast on YouTube, X, Facebook, 997WTN.com, and we are streamed everywhere. And I always, Joan, get these challenging direct messages. And I got one yesterday.
Oh, really?
Hey, Dan, I listened to your entire show yesterday. Thank you, and I'm sorry. Hey, Dan, I listened to your entire show yesterday. Didn't hear you play the audio of Michelle Obama admitting that she was a man. Did you hear? Did you hear this?
There's no such thing. Come on.
Au contraire.
Oh, seriously?
Listen to this. I'm going to play this.
Okay.
And because the guy thinks I'm afraid to play audio of Michelle Obama admitting that she's a man. So let's hear what Michelle Obama said.
I wanted to talk, Marlon, a bit about.
By the way, she sounds tired. Whatever.
Yeah.
I wanted to talk.
Is she talking to all those divorce lawyers? Moving right along.
I wanted to talk, Marlon, a bit about, just so proud of how you are being a role model for dealing with a child that's transgender.
Absolutely.
And that's, that warms my heart, particularly as a black man.
Did you hear that? She admitted she's a black man. Holy cow.
What?
Michelle Obama, Joan. I'll play it again. No.
Transgender.
Absolutely.
And that's, that warms my heart, particularly as a black man.
She's admitting that she's a black man.
If you continue... Well, maybe you should continue playing it.
No.
Yeah.
We don't need to play anything else, Joan. Clearly, she's admitting that her name is Michael and not Michelle. All right, let's play the rest of it.
Marlon, by the way. Okay.
Oh, go ahead.
That's her brother that she's speaking with.
Yes.
And her brother has a child who is transgender, and she's congratulating him. Whoa.
Yeah.
Good job.
Great.
Would you care to share that journey of...
Well, there you go. So basically what she was saying was she was proud of her brother as a black man, or I guess particularly as a black man for whatever reason, raising a trans child.
Yeah, is there some special category that makes a black man
I don't know. That's the thing. It's like, you know what, when everything you say and everything that is in your mind is seen through the color of one's skin.
Yeah.
That is a really myopic way of looking at things, isn't it? But that's what Michelle Obama, seems to it's always about race.
It's always about race.
That's where her mind lives.
Yes.
Hey, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
So, do you think that journalism has a future? Now, I want to actually have a conversation about this.
Okay.
Do you believe that journalism has a future? And I'm going to play audio from Donald Trump last night. You just played some other audio, Trump's message to business majors, right?
Yes.
Well, he also had a message for future journalists.
To the journalism majors, of which I've had a lot of problems with. I must be honest. I'm not sure I like them. No, I do. But you're really leading a very thing, because we need a great and free press. We need a brilliant press. They're like a watchkeeper. They're very important, and you can go out and take it down a new track, help save the country.
Totally agree.
So important. Your task is so important, and it's to build a media that Americans can trust. And remember, the people of this country, they know the truth when they hear it.
So you know what's amazing is that the people who are truly uncovering the truth in this country are not trained journalists.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna point to Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
We can talk about people like Theo Vaughn, Michael
Tim Pool. Yep.
Tim Pool, another one. And I'm gonna say this locally here in Nashville. Michael Patrick Leahy over there at the Tennessee Star.
Yeah.
I don't believe that he, and Michael, if you're listening, shoot me a text. I don't necessarily believe that he considers himself a journalist in the traditional sense. I don't believe that he has a journalism degree. But his work on just the latest with Kilmar Abrego Garcia, where, am I saying that right? Did I get the names right?
Kilmar Abrego
Garcia. Yeah.
Yep.
So every day, he is doing the work that Channel 5, Channel 2, Channel 4, Channel 17 are not doing.
Yep.
He is the one that is filing for Open Records Act.
Yes.
He is the one that is doing the legwork. He is the one that is calling out the previous administration, the Biden administration, for letting this guy go, ordering the Tennessee Highway Patrol to let this guy go when he was clearly trafficking illegal aliens. And he's the one that is asking the questions of the Tennessee Highway Patrol. So where all the news stations that are, leaders in local news, All right, so why are they not the ones filing these Open Records Acts?
Here, I have an excellent example of exactly what you're saying. Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
Okay, so this morning, ABC News, we get the cuts of their audio, and we go through them to see what we would like to use. And one of them that I saw this morning was, a discussion about Mike Waltz, no longer the National Security Advisor. And this is Catherine Faulders, who is a journalist with a capital J.
Okay.
And this was her report about his use of the Signal app. Listen to this.
He will have a hearing, in theory, before the Senate Foreign Relations Committee. He will be facing hard questions about the use of Signal in the White House, the use of Signal to conduct government business, the use of Signal among Trump's top advisors. It's been in the spotlight, and it surely will again. And just earlier this week, photographers captured Mike Waltz using his phone to use Signal to talk to the vice president, the secretary of state. You could just see it literally on his device.
Okay, so what's wrong with that?
There's nothing wrong with that. Joan, we've talked about this where
under the Biden, do we have, oh yeah, here we go. Under the Biden administration in 2024.
we call that the breaking news theme song.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
My heart dropped for a second.
CISA released a mobile communications best practice guidance for highly targeted individuals who defined as high-ranking, blah, blah, blah. That document says that those individuals should use, the best practice is for them to use Signal.
Yep. That's exactly right.
And these people, these journalists, don't seem to know that. And whoever it is that she's talking to is laughing in the background because they think it's so funny, too.
They think it's funny, but they don't understand that this is how, and Donald Trump was absolutely right in that audio that I played, that they are destroying their own credibility by not giving the whole story. The Biden administration, the Signal app was literally everywhere in the Biden administration.
And installed on phones that were given to government employees. Yep. It was pre-installed on their phones because this is a good way to communicate.
That's exactly right. So it is that lacking in context, it is that lacking in truth that is destroying journalism today,
Absolutely.
Whether it's at the local level or the federal level. And so, I just, when Trump is talking about, how as journalists, you've got to, go and search for the truth and so forth. Okay, well, I don't think the search for the truth is actually happening in the world of journalism by trained journalists, and I'm air quoting that, by trained journalists. It's happening by other people who are doing the work of journalists because journalists won't do it.
Right.
Right. 616. By the way, speaking of Michael Patrick Leahy, he has gone ahead and again furthered, advanced the story of Kilmar Abrego Garcia's traffic stop here in the state of Tennessee. Great audio coming up next on WTN. 616, time to check the roads. As far as your weather goes, by the way, thanks for listening. Today, high of 82. Showers and thunderstorms expected later on today. A high on Saturday, 69 and mostly sunny. A high on Sunday of 64 under sunny skies. 617, Nashville's Morning News. So we keep finding through the great reporting of Michael Patrick Leahy at the Tennessee Star, not by local news stations, we now have great audio of the traffic stop where Tennessee Highway Patrol pulls Kilmar Abrego Garcia over and he's got the 8 guys, 7 or 8 people in the back of that car. Now, remember, here's again, pulled over in Tennessee. It was obvious he was trafficking a bunch of these guys, right? He pretended not to speak English. His license was expired. His driving was erratic. And yet, the Tennessee Highway Patrol did not arrest him after consulting with the Biden FBI. Well, now, after jumping through a whole bunch of hoops and an open records request and all that, they now have the audio of that traffic stop. And it was somewhat redacted, but this is the discussion between law enforcement on the side of the road.
You know what you got here, right? No. He's hauling these people for money. You got an ass hauler is what he's doing, but sometimes they commingle dope.
Yeah, and so he said you've got an ice hauler. I thought he said ASS.
I thought he did too. Okay.
Yeah, but it's...
Play it again, please.
All right, here we go. But I looked at the transcript.
You know what you got here, right? No. He's hauling these people for money. You got an ass hauler is what he's doing, but sometimes they commingle dope.
Yeah, I mean, and by the way, I can play that even if it is ASS because it's part of a news story. But anyway, but they say that in the transcript he is saying an ice hauler, but whatever. But here's my point. The point is that this was a discussion between law enforcement. They knew what they were dealing with. And for the life of me, I still don't understand why it is that they just let this guy go and why it is that an incredibly law-abiding conservative state like the state of Tennessee and the Tennessee Highway Patrol knew that they had a trafficker dead to rights. These guys, nobody speaks English, and they are no luggage. Kilmar Abrego Garcia, he pretends to not speak English very well. They knew what they had, and yet they let them go.
8 people in there.
Yeah, I know. I didn't know that. They put an extra row of seats in there.
Yeah. So he's getting paid to haul these people, probably to Maryland, I would say, if I had my guess.
He said they all work together, is what he's telling me, but he's the only one that knows English.
So let me ask you this. They don't have any luggage in there, right? And if you get them out, they're going to have a tube of toothpaste, and they're going to have toothbrushes in their pockets, I guarantee it.
No luggage, 8 people. Again, nobody speaks English. And he talks about toothpaste and toothbrushes in their pockets. Don't know if that actually happened. So the Tennessee Star gets the audio through that open records request. This was out in Cookeville, by the way. This is from the Star. During another period when the officers were consulting, one claimed, if he gets arrested, you're not going to have any choice but to just dump the other guys out on the side of the interstate. So if they arrested Kilmar Abrego Garcia, then all these dudes, they say, would have to just be let out on the side of the road? Is that true? I mean, if it is, then we need to fix the law. And by the way, that officer was right because Kilmar did say that they were taking these guys, he was taking these guys to Maryland. Tennessee Star, it is unclear why this officer did not raise the possibility of contacting the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation, the TBI, which has previously worked on these kinds of things. Another portion of the video, they say, depicts the moment Abrego Garcia was released, which THP previously told the Star came at the instruction of the Biden-era FBI. So I don't know. I mean, I would love for somebody within the Tennessee Highway Patrol or somebody with knowledge as to the thinking as to, number one, why did they feel the need to call the Biden-era FBI? Maybe that's protocol, I don't know. But number two, why did they just let him go? And number three, what is the law? Like, if you, because let's be honest, there's a lot of trafficking that comes through Tennessee. So especially if you're going from, I guess, Texas to Maryland? And so the question is, why is the policy that you arrest the dude and you let the other 7 or 8 that were in the car go on the side of the road? I mean, if that's the law, well, then that law needs to be changed. And our state lawmakers have got to figure out a policy where You arrest somebody for trafficking, and the 7 or 8 that are in that vehicle, you got to turn them right back around and send them right back to where they came from. Now, the problem is that costs a lot of money, and that takes, a lot of communication, and I understand that. It's not always as easy as it sounds, but you don't know what these dudes are capable of. You don't know who they are. You don't know their ID. One of the parts of this story is that their identification, they didn't really have ID, but, if I remember right, they all had the same address. Who knows if they were giving their correct names? So it is just astonishing to me that more people are not asking questions outside of Tennessee Star, MPL, Michael Patrick Leahy, and folks here on WTN. But that's why I like what Donald Trump said, which is if you're going into journalism, then what you really need to do is be an actual journalist and try to uncover the truth and try to ask questions and not simply, as Jones' example was perfect, try to create a narrative to attack an American president and an American administration, which was voted in by a wide margin last year. Now, I don't know if that's going to happen, but the real people doing real journalism in this country are not the actual journalists. 624, Nashville's Morning News. Joan Jones is in the WTN newsroom. Joan.
Yeah, a former local police officer has been arrested. We'll tell you what he's accused of doing. Also, TikTok is being hauled into court. What the country of Ireland says TikTok was doing. Those stories and more coming up here at 6:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Dan Mendes here giving you the update on one of my favorite parties of the year, the Glock Store's 5th annual open house. It is happening on Saturday, May 31st. This is always a lot of fun for a lot of different reasons. I've been to the previous 4. Now, every year, and again, this year it's going to be Saturday, May 31st, but every year they throw open the doors and they welcome all of Nashville to come in and join the fun. They also have a bunch of vendors as well. So if you need anything for your gun, or if you need a gun, this is a great time to get it. Again, the Glock Store's 5th annual open house, and they're famous for their incredible raffles. This year, by the way, the raffles are actually going to be nonstop. It's one of the favorite parts of the open house. So they have incredible raffles. They're going to be nonstop all day long, giving you the best chance ever to win some really great gear, including, by the way, a custom Glock handgun. And even if you don't win a raffle, there's going to be incredible deals on all things Glock, including, again, Glocks. Deals so good that you'll just have to be there to believe them, including their Burrow Bullets Blowout. Now, the Burrow Bullets Blowout, 9mm and 223 in 1,000-round tac packs and in a Burrow Bullet ammo box. You're not going to believe the price. Again, you're going to have to be there to believe it and take advantage of all the great deals. The Glock Store's 5th annual open house, minutes from the airport and worth the drive from anywhere, especially on May 31st. .627 Nashville's Morning News. Dan Mendes here looking ahead to summertime. If you've got some big events planned, and I don't know what you have planned, but if you have something planned outdoors, maybe it's a birthday party, graduation party, maybe a wedding, and you need some cover because it is so hot outside, think about an incredible enclosure from my friends at Nashville Tent and Awning. They can be very casual and basic, or they can make them look as fancy as possible. Now, they can install it in your backyard. They can make them rather permanent. They can just come in and do it for your event. They've been around since 1884, Nashville Tent and Awning. They've been working with the likes of the Titans, Vanderbilt, and yes, the Grand Ole Opry as well. They are one of the top companies in Nashville. Ask anybody who has ever worked with them. Their enclosures and their tents and, yes, their awnings are simply amazing. So think about your backyard. You can actually extend your living space with a backyard enclosure so that you can enjoy the nice shade as the sun gets hotter and we head into summer. Get some visuals, ntaco.com and taco.com. Tell them Dan told you to reach out at 615-329-3701. Solid craftsmanship and built to last since 1884. Nashville Tent and Awning.
Good morning. It is now 6:30, and I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. They're still working that crash scene on 24 this morning, westbound side in Jolton, and the roadway's closed off. The detour starts at exit 31. It apparently involves 5 vehicles in one accident. It may be there a while for the cleanup. Nashville Mayor Freddie O'Connell proposing a 26% property tax increase that he says is necessary to provide the resources that Nashvillians need.
Building schools, patching potholes, picking up trash, and keeping people safe are all more expensive. This is a challenging budget to prepare because there are so many financial variables. Our national economic outlook is murky. We're phasing out hundreds of millions of dollars of one-time federal COVID relief funding.
The council must vote to approve the budget before July 1st. A former Murray County Sheriff's Office patrol sergeant has been arrested on charges of driving under the influence. Former Patrol Sergeant Randy Marisette is accused of leading police on a chase through a Columbia neighborhood in April. Before finally pulling over, he was also charged with evading arrest. President Trump's executive order signed yesterday ends public funding of National Public Radio and PBS to stop what he calls biased and partisan news coverage. That order directs the Corporation for Public Broadcasting to cease federal funding for the two to the extent allowed by law. That order will likely be challenged in court. China has said it is evaluating the possibility of starting trade negotiations with the U.S. This is the first sign of a break in the trade war. And new this morning, Ireland has fined TikTok $600 million for sending user data to China. Ireland says that the personal data was accessed remotely by staff in China. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather are next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Thank you, Joan. Dan Mandis here, 632. You know, you've probably been looking for cars, and you see the words buy here, pay here. And it does make you think, that's not necessarily a place that I want to go. And I get it. Most of these dealers have really bad reputations, but I am here to tell you that there is one place you can go. They're called Nolensville Road Auto Mart. They've been around for years. And they're different for a few simple reasons. They have been doing business in Nashville for 61 years. They are Nashville natives that only sell clean title cars under $12,000. Now, if you're new to town, you need a place to trust. You can trust them. If you need a first car for a 16-year-old, well, they can do that too. You don't even need to take my word for it. The Google reviews, they're excellent. And that's saying something for a car dealership. One location on Nolensville Road, close to Thompson Lane. They'll get you in and out in an hour or less. And the best part is they are the oldest buy here, pay here in Nashville. And they work with your own financing as well if you have it. Flexibility, transparency, and honesty. That is why I recommend Nolensville Road Auto Mart. Find them online, automartcars.com. That is automartcars.com. .635 Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN USS United Structural Systems. Listen, we got a lot of rain coming today, and so you need to check your basement and your crawl space because if you've got moisture down there, if you've got water down there because of all of this rain that we've been getting over the last couple of weeks, you got to call my friends at USS because they are the absolute experts in waterproofing, also concrete leveling and foundation repair. This is a great company, United Structural Systems. I've been working with them for years, not only as an endorser, but also as a customer. I am one of 30,000 satisfied customers, and this is a company, I can tell you from personal experience, this is a company that you can trust. I do give USS 5 stars. They're not going to charge you for any unnecessary repairs, and you won't pay a dime until the work is done, and you are a satisfied customer. And they can help you with basement and crawl space waterproofing, basement wall stabilization, foundation repair as well. We guarantee our best. Call USS 615-488-7855, 615-488-7855, USSTN.com.
Wow, what a mess this morning. So 24, the westbound side in Jolton still closed you got to get off at exit 31. That's where the detour is. It is a 5-vehicle accident that they're still working to clear. Then you've got an accident on 24 westbound In Laverne, this is at Old Hickory Boulevard, and 2 left lanes are blocked off by that one. Hermitage, Andrew Jackson Parkway southbound at Lebanon Pike. That's a crash involving some injuries. And then in Murfreesboro, 24 westbound side at Medical Center Parkway, there's an accident reported there. That's exit 76. And Dixon, 40, the eastbound side, an accident at Centerville, Dixon Highway, exit 172. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.638, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Joan and KGB, I am totally being called out.
Uh-oh, again?
What'd you do?
Well, people are saying that I am wrong in this audio of the interaction between the Tennessee Highway Patrol and Kilmar Abrego Garcia.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because, I was saying earlier when, and let me find it right here.
Yeah, you do have to play it again because I'm not believing your story either.
You're not believing it either?
Nope.
All right, so does this trooper say ICE or ASS in this audio?
You know what you got here, right? No. He's hauling these people for money. You got an ass hauler is what he's doing, but sometimes they commingle dope.
I do not hear an I in that.
So
nope.
Not one person has agreed with me. I'm just telling you what the transcript said, but I don't care, whatever. By the way, Mark Pody was listening. Thank you, Mark. And he says, I have made an official request to get everything concerning that traffic stop because we are very concerned about what happened. So State Senator Mark Pody is on it.
Good.
So,
excellent.
Yeah. And I also want to know what the heck the law is or why it is that we are seeking permission from the Biden administration, previous Biden administration, on what we should do with people that are breaking our own laws.
Yep.
By the way, do you know who's in the news today?
Who's in the news today, Dan?
Kilmar Abrego Garcia's
again? Oh,
wife. What did you say?
I was going to say again because he's in the news every day. If you
Yes. No, but there is some audio out there of his wife as she was in front of a judge asking for protection from the kind, loving father
Maryland
and
man.
husband, the Maryland man known as Kilmar Abrego Garcia. So this is what she apparently said in front of a judge. Listen.
I came to fill out a protective order. I think it was in December. But I didn't show up to the court because his family washed my brain telling me that his dad was sick and not to do it. So I didn't do anything. But after that, it was I would call the police. I have a lot of police reports. And I kept trying to get to the door basement to try to open the door, and then he pushed me. So then when I was able to go outside to get a phone, I called 911 from a disconnected phone. Now they took a long time to get to the house. It was probably 20-30 minutes. So I saw a neighbor walking his dog, and I opened the door and I was like, help. And then when he heard me, he grabbed me from my hair and then he slapped me. And then the neighbor, he didn't know what to do. He didn't know what to react. I have pictures of the evidence, all the bruises, because even on Wednesday, he hit me around 3 in the morning. He would just wake up and hit me. And then last Saturday for my daughter's birthday party, before I went to my daughter's birthday party, he slapped me 3 times. And then last week I did call the police. My sister called the police because he hit me in front of my sister.
So that is the wife of Kilmar Abrego Garcia asking for a protective order. You heard what she said. I have a stack of police reports. Do you know what's stunning about this, by the way? They would not issue a protective order.
What? Right.
That's crazy. I don't understand that. But here's what I also don't understand. So you just heard what she told the judge a few years ago. Well, I'm confused because this is what she told ABC News.
What has your life been like with him?
We've been together over 7 years. It's been amazing. He's very loving husband, amazing father.
Wait, so
yeah.
what's
Boy, that's
the
a different
truth?
story.
Is it that, or is it?
I have pictures of the evidence, like all the bruises. He hit me like around like 3 in the morning. He would just wake up and like hit me. Before I went to my daughter's birthday party, he slapped me 3 times because he hit me in front of my sister.
What has your life been like with him?
We've been together over 7 years. It's been amazing. He's very loving husband, amazing father.
Slapping her around on the daughter's birthday is what he
Wow.
did. Good Lord, man.
Somebody
Really?
got to her. Somebody got to her. And, you know, there's like somebody that got to all the women that claimed that Judge Kavanaugh, you know,
Yeah. Yep.
date raped them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's exactly
spiked
right.
the punch. And then, you know, all of a sudden these people come out of the woodwork. It's so frustrating, Dan. It's so frustrating. This woman felt like she was going to be beaten in the middle of the night by a guy who would wake up and just hit her.
Yeah.
And now he's a kind, loving, gentle
Maryland
husband.
man father. That's exactly right. And look, by the way,
Somebody gets to them.
I know that stuff happens in marriages, and she says now that things have worked out, but you know, when there are legal issues that happen, this stuff comes up. And so it's hard for me to take her seriously when she has a stack of police reports and she said this to a judge, and then she says a couple of years later, oh, he's been such a kind and loving father. BS. By the way, the New York Post also says that the wife of Kilmar Abrego Garcia also said that she told the judge he bragged that he could kill her and get away with it.
Whoa.
That's what the New York Post is reporting. I've got more on this straight ahead. By the way, Tattoo Gate has once again reared its ugly head. We're going to talk about that too. Straight ahead on Nashville's Morning News, busy show. The super text line is open at 615-737-9986, 615-737-WWTN. Time to check the roads. At 6:45 on WTN, as far as your weather for today, we've got thunderstorms expected later on today, high of 82. On Saturday, a high of 69, mostly sunny. And on Sunday, a high of 64 under sunny skies. Appreciate you listening to Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. So we all know about the whole tattoo thing, right? What was on Kilmar Abrego Garcia's knuckles? Were they MS-13 symbols? Were those symbols photoshopped? Did it actually literally say MS-13? You had the wife whose audio we just played, Kilmar Abrego Garcia, where she put little, I don't know, heart emojis or whatever it was over his tattoos. Clearly, she was trying to hide something, which I call completely suspicious. Now, about those tattoos, I love this. There were Senate confirmation hearings of one Terrence Cole. He wants to apparently, I guess, lead the DEA, the Drug Enforcement Administration. And he knows a lot about MS-13. He spent a lot of time dealing with, you know, the drug lords and the drug kingpins and all of that. And he was being questioned by Lindsey Graham and the senator. He pulls up a photo of the tattoos of Kilmar Abrego Garcia, and he said, what are these tattoos?
In your time in the DEA, do they have like membership cards?
Not necessarily the membership cards, but they are well recognized based on tattoos and...
All right, stop there. They have tattoos. And Kilmar Abrego Garcia, been in the news recently, has those tattoos. Here's how that conversation played out. Lindsey Graham and an expert on the drug lords and the drug kingpins and gangs here in America, including MS-13.
What does that photo or those markings suggest to you?
Well, they suggest that he's an MS-13 member, that those are his markings. That's his brand. Not only my time at the DEA, but currently I participate.
So the start with a leaf. What's that a sign of?
Marijuana.
Okay. The next one is?
Your smiley face.
Okay. And the next one is?
I believe that's a 1. I can't. It's a little blurred out for me, sir.
Yeah.
And then the last one's a 3 backwards.
Okay.
From here. Yes,
so
sir.
Based on your time as a DEA agent in the field, particularly in Mexico, these tattoos are consistent with MS-13 associations.
Yes, sir. That's correct.
Do you know of any other set of combinations that would suggest some other organization this represents?
With this particular one, no, sir.
So, I mean, this guy is an expert, and he is saying that those tattoos were MS-13. Listen to all the headlines this morning about the tattoos. I lovingly call it Tattoogate. Boston Globe, Kilmar Abrego Garcia's tattoos, not proof he's MS-13. CNN, tattoos of Abrego Garcia's fingers are not proof that he's a gang member. Snopes actually says the tattoos are not evidence of being in a gang. And the other day, I went through this whole thing where I said, listen, if you don't want to buy the whole tattoo story, then why don't you talk about the judges? Why don't you talk about law enforcement in Maryland that say that he is a member of MS-13? Sources within that gang told law enforcement that, yes, he is in MS-13 locally there. And he was also, by the way, clearly here illegally as well. And he was caught human trafficking in a car of a convicted human trafficker. So I don't care about the tattoos. A lot of people got mad at me earlier this week when I said this, and I'm going to restate. I don't need the tattoos to tell me that he's an MS-13 gang member. I believe the guy that was testifying in front of the Senate who says that, yes, those tattoos are indicative of somebody who is in MS-13. But you put all of that together, that bucket full of evidence, clearly this guy is not a Maryland man. And somebody said, one of the local news stations, I think it said Channel 4, referred to him as the Maryland man. They're still going with that. You still have news organizations that are going with that. It is absolutely insane.
Hello, ABC.
However, yeah, I mean, it is stunning. You know what's so funny, Joan, is that conservatives all across the country and actual journalists have been calling out the media for referring to Garcia, Abrego Garcia, as a Maryland man, and they're still going with it.
Yeah.
Even after everything else that we found out about this dude. Unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
You want to play the compilation again?
Oh, no, it's all right. No. That was 3 days ago audio, KGB. No, we don't repeat
still
audio
relevant,
too much.
Unfortunately.
It is. Sadly, it is. It is still relevant, and it's buried in all my notes. Anyway, it is 6:50 on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Can I just say that I don't care what other talk show hosts have said? Because I got all these people telling me what other hosts have said about stuff and these topics. I'm just telling you, I don't care what other talk show hosts have said about any topic ever on WTN or on the national level. I don't care. I do what I do regardless of what other people do or say.
You tell him, Dan.
Well, no, you know what the thing is? I think
it?
part of what happens on the super text line is that this person said this and that person said that. I don't care.
It's like a high school.
I truly don't, I may agree or disagree with one of the other hosts on this station or nationally. That's a great thing. That's the great thing about us as talk show hosts, is that we all have the freedom to speak our minds and disagree with each other and talk it out. That's what is the great thing about talk radio and so on and so forth. So I don't care what any other host said. I'm not going to repeat what another host said unless I think that it is particularly compelling, which, by the way, coming up in the next hour, I think it's 7:35, we're going to do another deep dive into Matt Murphy's interview with Freddie O'Connell. Oh, this is my favorite part of my show today because Murphy expertly cornered him and proved that Mayor O'Connell lied on his show when he said that his comments about basically Trump supporters was not geared towards or made about Trump supporters or the President of the United States, and talking about how O'Connell, in his speech yesterday, he basically blamed Donald Trump and the federal government for wanting to raise property taxes here in Nashville. But he says that he wasn't actually referring to Donald Trump, which he actually did. Murphy expertly cornered him. I've got the audio, and it's straight ahead on WTN. I'll go ahead and let you do your tease now, Joan. I think I had to play this 3 times. I'm awfully talkative today.
You
Go
are.
ahead.
It's kind of lovely. I like it.
Ah, very good.
So we'll tell you what Mayor Freddie O'Connell is proposing, and when he says he needs more money from property owners. Also, a gruesome discovery in Murfreesboro. Got those stories coming up here at 7 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Like that promo. I love that promo of Chris Hand. That was really, really funny. 6:53, Dan Mandis here. Listen, friends, if you own a BMW, an Audi, a Mercedes-Benz, a Porsche, any other European car, I've got great news for you. There is a new place to get your vehicle serviced, and they are called Renstall. They're going to be opening up later this month, here in a couple of weeks. As a matter of fact, you can find them online. I love, love, love this website. itrustmymechanic.com. Right now, if you've got a European vehicle, you can check them out and make appointments to get your European car serviced, repaired, whatever it is. These folks are great. They offer the best technicians, the latest and greatest diagnostic equipment, and yes, they are dedicated to customer service. They like to say, and it is a very great thing to say as part of their marketing, that they are dealer-level service but family-level care. And yes, honest pricing as well. They don't have one of those corporate mindsets, just a family business helping out our neighbors and friends by delivering honesty, respect, and exceptional service. Yes, they are locally owned and operated and exclusively do work on all European vehicles. They also proudly offer the Heroes Service discount. Veterans, active duty military, first responders, and emergency medical personnel all get 10% off of all repairs. All kinds of reasons why you should check them out online. Renstall. itrustmymechanic.com, 615-777-7100, 615-777-7100. 6:58, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Welcome on in for a Friday. I don't know. You, KGB and Joan, you guys want to have some fun with audio coming up after the news at 7? Because there's a lot of great audio that is out there that doesn't deserve a lot of time, but it's actually pretty funny. And it's also very revealing about the people that said the things that I'm going to play, including AOC. Joan, do you think AOC is going to run for president?
I do.
Do you think she's going to run?
I think she will run. She's gutsy. You know, she says things without abandon and without self-checking.
And without thinking.
Right. So, yeah, I think she would do it.
Did you see Jesse Waters last night?
I heard about it.
I've got some great audio from Jesse Waters. He sat down with the Doge guys and Elon Musk, and there was one moment that was particularly poignant. And I'm going to play a bunch of audio from that as well. We've got a lot to go on a Friday. It is Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Good morning, 7 o'clock, and I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. They are still working that accident scene on 24 westbound in Jolton this morning. The crash involving 5 vehicles, and traffic is being detoured off at exit 31, and it's closed there this morning, has been closed all morning long. We'll keep an eye on it, but we also have an accident on 24 westbound in Laverne. Now, this one also involving 4, maybe 5 cars. The left lanes are blocked off there, 2 left lanes blocked off. 24 westbound at Old Hickory Boulevard. Chris may be late to work this morning, I think. In the news this morning, Mayor Freddie O'Connell is proposing a 26% property tax increase. He says it'll pay for services that would otherwise go away. And he took a veiled swipe at the Trump administration and protesters who were holding up signs and chanting outside his State of the Metro address.
People celebrating the chaos of federal cuts, which, make no mistake, are not about efficiency. What they won't tell you is what they're proposing means we wouldn't fund our school services and safety. We wouldn't open a new police precinct in Southeast Nashville, wouldn't have the new police flex unit shrink the amount of time you have to wait when there's an emergency.
Protesters say, however, there is no need to raise taxes. The Metro Public Health Department is investigating a restaurant following reports of food poisoning.
The Tennessean says people claim they got sick not very long after eating at the Sushi Train restaurant on White Bridge Road. They complained about rapid onset of food poisoning symptoms on the online platform iwaspoisoned.com. Well, officials with the health department claim they found 18 violations during recent inspections at the restaurant. As for the diners and their symptoms, the Public Health Microbiology Foundation claims to have identified Staphylococcus aureus food poisoning at Sushi Train, which can make someone sick within 30 minutes to 8 hours of eating. Ken Weaver, WTN News.
The body of a man has been found inside of a car at a tow lot in Murfreesboro. News 2's Haley Wildguss.
Police tell us the car was towed from the Walmart on Old Fort Parkway nearly a month ago. Tow company employees were about to place a lien on the car since no one had claimed it. The medical examiner will work to find a cause of death.
And no ID on that man so far. President Trump hit a nerve last night during his commencement speech at the University of Alabama.
I think I should have come here. Congratulations as well to the women's track and field team for winning 2 SEC titles this year. That's something. As long as I'm president, we will always protect women's sports. Men will not play in women's sports.
That applause went on for a long, long time. Market numbers report brought to you by Beacon.
Oh, don't you know, Joan, that people are losing faith in Donald Trump and he's lost all that support?
So I've heard. Yeah. Market numbers here brought to you by Beacon Capital Management online at beaconcm.com. Futures are pointing up this morning with Dow futures 184 points higher, NASDAQ futures up 57, and the S&P futures gaining 21. That's the latest news, traffic, and weather next. I'm Joan Jones. Jones, WTN News. Still working an accident this morning. So 24, the westbound side is closed in Joelton. Got to exit the highway at 31. The traffic stopped from Whites Creek Pike, exit 35. In Laverne, it's a crash on 24, the westbound lanes as well. This one blocks off 2 left lanes and right at Old Hickory Boulevard, exit 62. Pretty backed up behind that as well. Paragon Mills, an accident at Harding Place at 24. Got a crash in Woodbine. The right shoulder blocked off. I-440, the westbound side at Nolensville Pike. And then in Pegram at McCrory Lane, south of I-40. That one involves some injuries. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.706 Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Joan, I heard you playing some audio from President Trump.
Yeah.
And he was at the University of Alabama.
Yeah.
Was this last night?
Yes.
Man, Donald Trump, man, he just never sleeps.
I know, he's amazing. There were people, I was listening yesterday, and there were people going, well, why is he in Alabama? They didn't even know that he was going to be doing the commencement speech. They didn't know he was going to be out there talking about cars being manufactured in Alabama again. So they can't keep up with him.
No, they can't. And by the way, they also probably didn't want to make a big production out of it because they didn't want the psychos to come out.
Right.
But he said, I love this comment. This was last night in front of the University of Alabama graduates.
Graduates of the Alabama class of 2025 standing here before you in this magnificent arena, it is clear to see the next chapter of the American story will not be written by the Harvard Crimson. It will be written by you, the Crimson Tide.
There you go. I mean, what a great line.
Yeah, that is.
What a great line. And now you've sent this to me, Joan. Apparently,
yeah,
this is from today. Donald Trump posting on Truth Social.
Just 38 minutes ago.
We are going to be taking away Harvard's tax-exempt status. It is what they deserve.
And all of the news organizations have tweeted this out now. So they're just sending alerts out. And of course, you can expect that one's going to go to court too.
Yeah, they're all going to go to court. Now, and this just broke, but just off the top of my head, because I have spoken about this before, what Trump is doing is he is trying to get these colleges and universities to basically stop allowing anti-Semitism.
And that's what it's all about. I mean, if it can be displayed that they are wantonly allowing anti-Semitism within their campus, they will lose their tax-exempt status.
Because the American people shouldn't pay for that. Jewish folks, Jewish Americans should not have to pay for the tax-exempt status of a clear anti-Semitic college and university. They shouldn't.
These protesters stopped students from going to their classes.
They stopped them. They stopped their free speech. They wouldn't allow them to, walk through a quad to get to the library. They threatened people. They vandalized buildings. I mean, I could go on and on. We saw that at Harvard. We saw that at Columbia University, colleges all across the country, after Israel defended themselves against future terrorist attacks by going into Gaza.
Wow. This is pretty big news.
And by the way, I did cover this. This is going to cost them billions of dollars. I mean, we're talking. This is a massive, massive hit if this is actually something that happens. And here's the thing. That's all Trump wants. Just, you know what? Here's what we need from you. Don't be anti-Semitic. Protect all students. And have a welcoming campus for everyone and protect everyone's free speech and everyone's safety. There's some other things, and I'll look it up. But, basically Harvard said, no, we're not going to do that. We are going to remain a university that accepts, tax-exempt status, and we're going to continue to allow Jewish students to be threatened by these Hamas-supporting groups on campus. And so Trump said, well, then screw you. We are going to take away your tax-exempt status, and I fully support what the president is doing. Now, the hue and cry from all